Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that at. Where we do that at. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that at. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, brother like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that at. Where we do that at. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that at. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Much love to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We in this thing. It's time. It's Saint time, man. Time to talk about the black and gold. Much love to the great Saint Tank. I appreciate you guys being in this. What is it? Wednesday episode. Good grief. Wednesday hump day edition of the Coma, man. We on the right side of the week. And let me tell you something, man. These days are ripping and running. And we are ripping and running with it. Let me tell you something. Big ups to the fam. Appreciate everybody for being in the live stream. Much love to everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic, absolutely fantastic week as it went. I'm doing pretty good on my week as usual, man. So I just like to thank you guys for being in this episode of the Coma. And this one, man, is pretty much called Are the Saints on the right path here, fam? This season. Now, listen. I don't think there have been too many people as critical of the leadership, if you want to call it that, of the New Orleans Saints organization than yours truly. You know, I've been a guy, man. Let me tell you something, man. I want to win. And like, I don't just sit up and play hope games and snip on the hopium. There's actually steps and things that we need to do to get there that we can actually do. I mean, concrete steps that we can make to win. And we see it throughout the NFL every year. And I want to be among those people winning some games. I believe my team is one of the best teams in the NFL. I think the Saints are one of the best. I just think what's happened to the Saints over the last couple of years have been self-inflicted. And I've been saying that a lot. So we're going to talk about all of the great things that the Saints are doing now. Shout out to my Patreon and YouTube membership family. We talked about some of this stuff. It was an hour and 40-minute show that we did on Patreon yesterday when we had all these interviews that they rolled out for the OTAs. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to play a few pieces of some of them. Some of them are short enough. I'm not going to play a long snippet of them. But now listen, you guys, the great Saint Think Tank and the Who Dat Nation, have a memory. You guys have a memory. You know what time it is when we talk about everything on this stream and ways that we can win. What do we need to do? What's the problem? You know, just like in your life, like you're not just going to sit up here and hope problems go away. You want to be able to problem solve. And ultimately the problems, you start problem solving, you'll find the answer and then implement the answer and just keep following that thought process. And we've done that here. I mean, we've done a really good job here of ferreting out these things. And like I said, there are people, and I mean, we've been on the air and talking for a long time. We've been up here for a while, and we ain't new to the party. Hell, we were here for a long time, touching down, talking black and gold, and the Sports Coma has a reputation of keeping it real, man. Regardless of not how it, no matter how it makes the team look, if the team is not on the side of what's right, then I'm going to ride with the right side, regardless of what's going on. but I got to give credit where credit is due based on what I'm hearing. And this is some of the stuff that we talked about, family, for a long time, and y'all know it. And I'm going to cover some of this stuff, but let me give my shots out to the family for joining me in this episode of the show. Young City Ninth Ward, shout out to you, fam. Good to see you. Young City 9. Shout out to you, Cartel Bo. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Hemisphere, how you doing, fam? Slim is in the building. Brother Roe is in the building. Pelicans Nola, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Brother Gundam is in this thing as well. Bronze is in this thing. Shout out to you, Bronze. Appreciate you for being in the stream as well. OG Jerry is in this thing. Shout out to OG, man. Appreciate that, brother. As always. What's up, Barbara? Shout out to my queen, Barbara, in this thing. Good to see you, queen. Appreciate you. Tuck is in this thing. Shout out to Tuck. Much love to Queen Tuck. She's in this thing. All right, Skylife, how you doing, fam? Appreciate you as well. Jason, shout out to you. Good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you. Brother Devin is in this thing. Good to see you. Much love to everybody, man. We're going to go over all this stuff. What's up, Brother Rock? How you doing, fam? Say, what's good, Big Q? Who that nation? We might be coming for the division a little earlier than anticipated. All right. Okay, good. A little competition there, my brother. I appreciate, we see your Carolina Panthers in week 1, my friend. So we'll see how that ferrets out, man. It's going to be fun watching that game because, those week 1 games, like the Saints should win that game. But fam, week 1 and those first 4 weeks is always something you have to watch out for because the team has to establish his identity, even though they're practicing. They don't actually play full length games until they touch down in the regular season. And those first 4 weeks of the regular season are usually a little difficult. So we're going to need our Saints to learn and win, because listen, starting the season off with a win against Carolina would be big because if you don't, you have some real interesting matchups from, the first 4 games after that is very interesting with Dallas and this and that, Atlanta's in the mix. You throw in who else is in there? Kansas City's in there. Man, goodness. So the Saints are going to have to win, learn, and win. It don't have to be perfect, but learn and win. And we need to do it like that. All right. Shout out to my dog, KT. Big ups to you. Appreciate you being here. Oh, I'm sorry, Tuck. Yeah, I'm sorry for the record. I'm sorry, Tuck. My bad. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. All right, but y'all hit the like button, family, while we up in this thing. Much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in this thing as well. And of course, shout out to our Who Dat Nation contributors, man, for doing some great work, man. I just appreciate those guys. Niles Carpenter, our Saints contributor, did a really good job in putting together an article. I wanted to cover that. And then, it was inspired by the interviews that the Saints put out there. And if you guys listen to those interviews, you could check the verbiage on what they were saying in these interviews. And the verbiage was almost like, you could have, fam, for real, it's like things that they don't usually say they're saying, like the things that we say last year and been saying for like some time now, for some time now. Y'all heard like a lot of stuff, like it was Dennis Allen talking about accountability and attention to detail. Man, I was beating that drum hard all damn year. That was one of the major flaws of why the Saints failed was accountability, non-accountability, and no attention to detail. He was talking that stuff. I also really, like I said, I got to give credit was credit's due because I really do. When I listened to those interviews, I was like, damn, I think they got it. By George, I think they've got it. Oh, by George, I think they've got it, family. Oh, we got it now. Oh, yeah, we've been listening. We've been paying attention to everything. And I think we got it now, family. We got it. We're going to do some stuff this year. And listen, I agree. I agree, fam. You turn this team upside down and in around, and this is what you found out. This is what I was saying. And they are saying everything. They're saying the things that I want to hear. I was like, man, they got it, fam. They finally got it. And I'm gonna tell you this. He's the QB coach, Andrew Janoko. He was up there and he was talking about Derek Carr. Well, one of the main criticisms I have of Derek Carr was the fact that he holds on to the ball too long. and the fact that he stares one side of the field down too long. He has an issue going through his progressions consistently. He'll stare at the side of the field where guys are running free or one single covered on the opposite side of the field. That's why the wide receivers was getting upset with him. And these guys are not going to come in here and play with blind eyes and looking at the tape and saying that they're working on stuff and they're not working on it. That's what they were doing last year. They're not doing that this year. They are coming in, and let me tell you, when we talk about accountability, they're coming in and they're saying this is the floor that they're establishing, the foundation that they're establishing. Andrew Janoko, I'm gonna play him in a little bit of what he was saying about how he wants Derek Carr's footwork to be. We want Carr to do this. We want Derek to do this, not what he's doing. They are going to make sure that he operates the way they want him to do. Progressions and footwork, all that ties into timing to make sure he gets the ball out properly. That is a big plus. And the biggest thing is like, I want to hear more from John Benton. I want to hear more from John Benton. Benton had like a 5-minute piece where he talked, and you could have took all of the stuff that Dennis Allen, well, half of his interview, because Dennis Allen said a lot of positive stuff that we want to hear. He really did. We talked about the left tackle, right tackle situation. Who kept saying for I don't know how long since they started this experiment, don't you dare put Penning on that left side. Why isn't Ram over there? What, all this kind of stuff. This, that, and the third. Put him at right tackle. Have a mindset. I kept saying a psychological reset. Don't you dare put him at the left tackle position if he had the traumatic experience. Don't put him over there. Take him and put him on the right side so he can have a psychological reset. I kept saying that them people almost used the same goddamn verbiage that I said. And I said that, weeks ago? I was like, man, these guys, by George, I think they've got it. Bam, I'm telling you, they were saying everything that we were saying. And I was like, wow, by George, I think they've got it. I think they've got it. And people, listen, y'all listen to these interviews and hear it. I was saying this stuff and it wasn't like dribs and drabs. It was all clumped together. Everything that we've been talking about here. And them people said it in one day yesterday, clumped together. Ridiculous. I was like, wow, they finally got it. So when I heard that, I said, you know what? Okay, now it's the time. Now that you got it, I'm going to take my hands off you, baby. Because I was dry. I had a steering wheel in their back. I'm just going to go ahead on and say, okay, y'all got it. Let's see what you got. Because listen, I kept saying this team is a great team. It's supposed to be in the playoffs every year. The Saints are supposed to be playing for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is supposed to be down here this year. We're supposed to be in that bowl, playing in that bowl, not messing around with teams with rookie quarterbacks. We're supposed to be in that bowl. We have everything that we need. We got it all, fam, and I think they finally got it, man. Listen, and like I said, we haven't played any games, and I'm still going to be watching. But the Marshawn Lattimore thing was more clarity on that yesterday, as we was like, man, this ain't clear. They had articles coming out, people saying, oh, yeah, it's settled. I was like, it's not settled because it wasn't clear. Then they re-asked him again yesterday, and he clarified and said, yes, he's going to be here for 2024. That's a big plus. So I just love everything they were saying because, man, a lot of the issues that we were confronting with the Saints last year, which was prohibiting from winning games, was, like I said, a lot of that was self-inflicted. The Green Bay game loss, that was self-inflicted. It wasn't because Green Bay, we let them into the game and win the game. You see? So, I mean, like I said, we are the truth. We have the talent. We just need to step up and do what we're supposed to do. Thank you, Louisiana, for your super chat. Keep doing what you do. Thank you, fam. Appreciate you for that, man. Much love. Thank you appreciate y'all being here listening to me because I'd be but just hear what they saying, fam. We've been talking about this. It's been a long time, fam. We've been talking about this, the Penning thing, the reset, all of that. They saying everything we're saying, which means we always have an impact, but I want the team to win. And I really do think by listening to what they were saying, the things that was wrong with the team from a mental standpoint and an execution standpoint, They appear to have gotten it, fam. They appear to have gotten it. So anyway, man, much love to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, who that dude says that? I'm optimistic about the new offense. I am too, bro. And that was the question. Like I had the questions like when any new offensive coordinator comes here and he brings all of these people. You got a new running back coach. I mean, the Saints have pretty much what, a 75% turnover offensively speaking. You got a new offensive coordinator. You got a new QB coach. You got a new wide receiver coach, a new running back coach, a new offensive line coach. That's like 75, 80% of your offensive room been flipped. And usually when that happens, it's always a brief cycle where we got time to learn. We're going to learn. That's none of the case. The Saints have to get this team to the playoffs, not just because to appease the family base, but contractually speaking, you got guys on the team getting older and older. You need to take advantage of their years while you have them here before you ultimately have to transition into a less talented team where you would be counting on more young players than older players. You get what I'm saying? So the Saints have to take advantage of that right now. Yeah, it's like almost 75 to 80% turnover offensively speaking. That's pretty damn big. 504 says Q, we call pen and movie like 2 years. Yes. Man, remember all that, because I know a lot of people out there, memories are not as good, and they'll hear that stuff and be like, oh, that's interesting. Fam, we've been talking about this. We ahead of the curve, fam. I've been saying that. We've been talking about this, and these people are finally getting it. So I'm going to play a few of these interviews so you can hear what they're saying. And even Derek Carr, and Carr tends to prattle on and he's long-winded, but he was talking the correct way. He was talking about how Clint Kubiak and Andrew Janoku are on him, correcting him, and he said it almost reminded him of like Chucky. And I'm like, I don't know, because Chucky cusses at you. I know Chucky cusses at you. I don't think Clint Kubiak cusses at you. But these guys are about their business. They have a quiet demeanor, but they're serious people. They understand the complexities of what they have to do, the time limitations of when they have to do it, and the way and the things that they're talking. They are building the foundation to success. Stuff that we seen last year with the non-accountability and all this foolishness. I don't think we'll have an issue with that. That was a big problem. I don't think we'll have a problem with that offensively speaking. Now, Dennis Allen, we'll see how he'll go moving forward. But as long as he kind of do his thing, we'll see what happens. But I'm confident the defense, as long as they're healthy, they'll do what they're supposed to do. We got enough talent. But like I said, it's all on that offense, fam. And these people are serious, man. So after hearing those interviews, man, I was like, yes, fam. I think the Saints have gotten it. So that's why I call this stream, are the Saints on the right path this season? Let's go into it, fam. I know I'm going to go back to the chat momentarily, but let me kind of move this thing along. Let me get into this article right here. 3 things we learned from the Saints OTAs thus far by Niles Carpenter, our Saints contributor at TheWhoDatDaily.com. The Saints are holding the 2024 OTAs, and several coaches have discussed the team philosophy and scheme in recent interviews. Head coach Dennis Allen emphasized attention to detail and accountability, a notable shift from last year. Allen even commented on how crisp and sharp the offensive pace was compared to last season, signaling a positive start to the new year. Can the Saints turn their fortunes around and make a playoff run despite the struggles of the past 3 years? Here's 3 reasons why Saints supporters should be cautiously optimistic about the upcoming season. And of course, they talk about the preseason schedule, just in case, and we'll talk about that later on the broadcast. But these are some of the bullet points that Niles put up. He says, number 1, Marshawn Lattimore's commitment. Head coach Dennis Allen confirmed with more certainty that star cornerback Marshawn Lattimore will be with the team in 2024. Lattimore, who had previously expressed dissatisfaction with the team's direction, almost led to a trade situation. His renewed commitment is a significant boost for the Saints defense, providing stability and leadership in the secondary. Like I said, with Laddie Daddy aboard and everything the Saints have, they are, to me, like if the defense is healthy, this defense could be a top 5 unit in the NFL, depending on health. Health is a big thing. Certain factors apply, obviously, and I'll talk about that a little later. Improved offensive line. The Saints are starting with first-round tackles Talise Fuaga on the left and Trevor Penning on the right. New offensive line coach John Benden had expressed his confidence in these players, praising their ability to fit into his run-heavy scheme. Benton's success in establishing zone schemes in previous roles bodes well for the Saints, who are looking to dominate the trenches and improve their run game. I'm going to play Benton's interview, just in case you didn't hear it. I would love to hear John Benton talk for 20 minutes about the Saints offensive line and their blocking strategies, because that's where my focus is on, because we know that the Saints are going to try to run the ball. Like I said, the biggest person in terms of role to success for the Saints, not so much as Clint, it is John Benton. John Benton must establish an athletic and intelligent offensive line with the pieces that he has to lead to success in the running attack for the Saints. So this will be very pivotal and crucial to the direction of the black and gold, because we're going to have to run the ball to win for real. Quarterback development. Here we go. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak and QB coach Andrew Janocko are focused on refining Derek Carr's footwork and progressions in the pocket. Janocko highlighted the importance of training Carr's feet, understanding the offensive nomenclature and making decisive decisions. The Saints faced severe issues with these aspects last year, but the current coaching staff appears to have found the right formula to address these problems. If successful, it says fans can expect to see a more efficient and explosive offense in the upcoming season. So there it is. So he says, with these developments, the Saints have reasons to be cautiously optimistic. The combination of renewed commitment from key players, a fortified offensive line, and a focused quarterback development could translate into an excellent football and potential playoff run. As always, patience and cautious optimism are key for Saints fans as they look forward to the new season. And I think that's one of the things that we could talk about in terms of the Saints offense. And to a degree, a lot of the family members feel a little, and that's the energy is cautious optimism, because we're listening. Like it's not that you should sign this guy or sign this guy, because the Saints are really good at doing that. They'll sign players, but the issue is having the correct foundation to implement these players with and bringing them into something. So you disrupt whatever. They didn't have much of a foundation last year, but they bringing in players that are serious about winning, or coaches rather, who are not only meticulous and detail centered, but these guys have a formula that they've used before, and they're feeling pretty good about what they're doing. Like even Dennis Allen and others talked about the pace in which the offense is getting in and out of the huddle and moving, because everything's timed. It's a very disciplined offense. It's a time offense with everybody doing what they're supposed to do, moving together and playing together. But anyway, let's start with this, fam. Let me start off with let's start with Dennis Allen at first. I really should start with John Benton. Let me start with John Benton first and foremost, because to me, John Benton was the dude that really, now listen, if y'all didn't hear this, I want y'all to listen to what John Benton's saying about what the Saints are going to do in terms of the running attack. How you doing, Dante? Shout out to you, man. All right, it's a Falcons family member. Okay, much love to you. Appreciate you being here. Brother Pat Rich, I see you, fam. Appreciate you as well. All right, this is John Benton. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear this. Here we go.
You do run more. It's less of, for lack of a better term, less of the traditional, get in there and grind it out and power steps and talking about that. And what we do is we run off the ball. We try and beat defenders to spots on the field and stop pursuit. So we do a lot of things that are on the more athletic side of things, as opposed to just finding out if we're bigger and tougher, I guess, so to speak.
All right, let me pause it right there. So that was a lot. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to being tougher. Now, he did say later on in this interview that they want to be tougher, obviously, but athleticism and getting to spots on the field is big, because like Coach Benton talked about, not only, guys getting to certain spots and then having pursuit angles cut off where guys are not able to pursue the ball carrier. This is very interesting. This is a very interesting look, because we've watched the offense play for a long time. Derek Carr also said something really revealing. Like one of the smartest things I heard Derek Carr, not disparaging his intelligence, but one of the smartest things that I heard personally, Derek Carr said about the offense that we know about them. The offense, the Kubiak style offense, forces defense to tip their hands about if they're in man or in zone, right? We know about that. But also he revealed the fact that all of the sets look the same, and it is very difficult to read what the offense is doing. So the offense is being done, and that takes discipline and focus for them. He said a lot of the plays look the same. So that's really interesting that you won't be able to read what we're doing if properly installed, but we force you defensively to tip your hand. So that is big. I'm going to have him to talk about that more. But here's John Benton.
I imagine Fuanga fits that vision pretty well then? Or
Who does?
Talise Fuanga?
Oh, my God, yes. Yes, he fits it real well. I tell you, I think the group is, as a whole, is good, but obviously Tally fits the scheme incredibly well. He ran a very similar scheme. I've known his line coach from college for years, and we've conversed back and forth. They're doing a lot of the same things, so he's got some familiarity with it, and obviously an incredible athlete. So very excited about Tally.
And John, I'm going to apologize if you already answered this, but it sounds like you kind of answered it. What's going to be your philosophy with this offensive line?
Philosophy as a whole, kind of what I was saying before is, as opposed to just being strong and physical and trying to knock them off the ball, which obviously I hope we do, the emphasis is really on cutting off pursuit, winning angles against the defense and that type of thing. So we take a more athletic approach from that standpoint. And those are the kind of principles we're trying to do now.
Do you feel you have those type players on this roster?
I do. I think the talent is there. I was, another lack of a better term, I was drooling over Eric McCoy when he was coming out in the draft. I'm very excited to be with him. Caesar, I could say the same thing. Trevor's a great. I mean, we have some athletes that are more than capable of what we need to do. And a lot of times it's just a little different in mindset that we get that instilled in them. I think we'll be successful.
Now, shout out to John DeShazer because he came in and he asked the question basically to reset everything. He apologized for resetting, but what he did was actually a blessing because it forced John Benton to kind of reset his line of talking, and he kind of reinstituted talking about the philosophy of what they want the Saints offensive line to do. He spoke about beating the defense to spots, getting to an area, beating them on angles, cutting off pursuit angles of defenders trying to get to the ball carrier. So, I mean, these are positive things and taking advantage of the athleticism of the Saints offensive line. He spoke about Talise Fuanga, said this guy definitely has it. He also talks about Trevor Penning saying it. You heard him say it about McCoy, Cesar Ruiz. Those guys both can move. Of course, we'll find out who the left guard position is as camp, as we get further in the season. But we have guys like Nick Saldiveri thrown in there, Ali Udo's thrown in there. The Lucas, the guard that we picked up, those guys. So it's going to be a competition at the left guard position, open competition for it, which would be pretty freaking cool to have that. But hopefully we'll see a guy like Nick Saldiveri, one of those guys, step in there, because that would be pretty cool to see all of our young offensive linemen, the 2 first-round draft pick tackles, and the 4th round. I think Nick Saldiveri was a 4th round draft pick a couple of years ago. Him getting an opportunity to shine because he could play. That guy could play, man. He's very versatile. All right, anyway, let's finish up with Coach Benton.
Early, I know a lot of the emphasis is going to be on Trevor Penning, but what have you seen from Trevor so far?
Everything's very positive so far. I think, as I said, I think he's experienced, from what I've heard anyway, he's experienced some bad luck. Just the fact that we're 18 days into it, and he's been at every practice, every training session, is healthy, feels good. Well, I thought he looked good today. I think all arrows are up on Trevor right now, and just keep that going.
John, I'm sure this is a repeat as well, but Fuanga plays right tackle all through college. Trevor's played left tackle his whole life, and you guys flip-flop them.
What are we
what's
thinking?
The philosophy behind that? Yeah.
Well, really, it all started before we knew we had Tally, Fuanga.
Yeah.
We just really felt like Trevor, from his experience and whatnot, needed a fresh start. And I'm really of the belief there's not that much difference between right and left tackle. So, and with Ramczyk probably being an injured casualty, let's move Trevor over there. And then Tally has had experience at left tackle, and definitely is the athlete to do it over there. So, just decided to stay with it after the draft, and I think it's been. We won't know, but it looks good so far. I think they're both responded well.
Why do you think it's not that big of a?
Well, I think it used to be. It used to go through the season, and the best pass rushers were always on our left, and that's not true anymore. Defense has got smart, and it's maybe not 50-50, but close to it. We're a very ambidextrous offense from a run
Ambidextrous.
game standpoint. It used to put
Right.
your big slobber knocker at right tackle and your athletic guy at left tackle, but we're going to
Pause.
go both directions and be athletic. So I really don't, the characteristics we need for both tackles are essentially the same.
All right. So what now, fam? Listen. Pause on that slobber knocker. But listen, the thing is, with everything that's happening here, very interesting takes from John Benton. That's why I said I would love to hear a 20 to 30-minute interview with just John Benton talking. And the same thing with Clint Kubiak sent these, because that's who I really want to hear from. I want to have, Clint Kubiak sit down for like 20 minutes and we talk about offensive philosophy. John Benton sit down for like 20, 30 minutes and just talk about offense. How you going to run the ball? What do you think about this, that, and the third, and players? And he pretty much made some some high compliments to players like Trevor Penning, to Lee Swaga. There's no doubt about it. Those guys can move. They're athletic. The mentality, he called it an ambidextrous offense, but he referred it in terms of the running attack, because I think we get ready for it, fam. This is going to be a run heavy unit. This is going to be a run heavy situation. And he says it's ambidextrous and it doesn't matter. Now, I mean, it hits different when Benton says it versus when Dennis Allen said it doesn't matter, because we know he's saying from a run standpoint, it doesn't matter, because if you have two athletic, that's true. I agree wholeheartedly with that, but it does matter when you start passing the ball. It damn sure matters when you passing the ball, because the quarterback on the blind side, you got to have your best guy over there, or a guy that knows what the hell he's doing on that blind side, because he can't see over there. I mean, he turns, a right-handed quarterback's going to turn to his side here and looks, and he'll see that right tackle. He'll see that in over that tackle. He can see that, but he can't see nothing on the opposite side. So John Benton, man, I would love to hear more from him. An ambidextrous offense when it comes down to running the football. Do you have the guys to do it? He says yes. So love what I heard from John Benton, man, on that, man. That's pretty cool to hear that. All right, let's switch on to Andrew Janoka right quick. And these are pretty short interviews right here with these guys. It's like 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. It's not much. Here's QB coach Andrew Janoka.
He's got to jump into it, both feet, and hit the ground running. So it's been a lot of fun so far, just putting it together, seeing the things that he likes, putting the player in the best position, executing Clint's plan, and playing fast.
Obviously he's a veteran guy who's seen a lot in this league, but what's the adjustment been like?
I think it's been pretty good. There's a lot carryover from things he's done throughout his past, throughout his career, and then there's some new stuff that we've asked him to do that he's really embraced, and it's been a lot of cool communication between him, myself, Clint, just to get this thing, get everybody on the same page.
Not to give away the shop, but when some of the new things that you guys are kind of after this.
Well, it's just as far as getting back to training his feet in the way that we like within our offense, training his feet, training his progressions, understanding our nomenclature, the way we're going to call plays, the way we're going to call motions. That's all stuff that, just a continuous effort to get everybody together.
All right, so let's stop right there, because you see, the reason why I'm encouraged, let's just use that word, I'm encouraged, because these were real issues that we talked about constantly ad nauseum over the last year, that it just seemed like it fell on deaf ears. Like, why are you guys ignoring this stuff? Why are you ignoring his progressions? He's not going through his progressions properly, and Andrew Janoka's talking about footwork. Now, Carr's footwork, I thought it was okay last year. I thought his footwork was all right, but, it wasn't something I was looking at. I was looking more at his progressions. The fact that Carr would take, either would stare down one side of the field, or he will rush through progressions and just check the ball down. The difference I'm liking here, and why I'm optimistic, let's just say that, and enthused, was because they're not going to leave that on Carr. They're going to fix his footwork and tell him, listen, you need to do this. We want you to do this like this. We want you to go through the progressions like this. They're not leaving it all up to him. You get what I'm saying? Like, that was Pete Carmichael last year. He wasn't talking about Derek Carr's footwork like that and changing and doing any of this stuff. He wasn't. Not trying to disparage Pete Carmichael, but he wasn't talking about that. Well, we need to get his footwork. We need to go through his progressions. He's a little slow. We need to speed him up. We need to make sure he understands what he's looking at, because everything's operating on timing with this offense. So if the quarterback is off, it could be problematic. So he needs to be in rhythm with everybody else. So it's very good that they're going that Carr and talking about progressions, family. This is big. We talked about progressions ad nauseum last year, that he don't go through his progressions properly, that he stares one side of the field down. I'm so happy that these guys are working on getting that together. It really is, because that was a killer for us last year. A killer. So this is positive. This is positive.
What are just kind of, this might be a weird question, but just what are like maybe 2 or 3 like kind of like your pillars of like coaching? Like what are the kind of things you guys you want to keep these on their hats?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is we're going to have an open line of communication. Everybody's got to trust each other. They're going to trust that we're going to put them in the best position, and we're going to trust that they go execute at a high level. And then obviously we're going to listen to our feet. Our feet are everything. We're built from the ground up, and then just decisive decision making. Playing fast, being committed to what you decide, and letting it rip.
Well,
Decisive decision making. I like that. Decisive decision making. That is something, that's 2 words that you couldn't put on the Saints offense last year. Most certainly on Pete Carmichael. Decisive decision making. That is, yes, we need that. We need more of that and plenty of that, please. Please.
What about you and Clint? You think kind of works well? You guys been together for a while.
Yeah, that's like we've known each other for a long time. Just trust each other. I trust him. Try to do a good job for him. His whole family. It's been really important to me and my development as a coach. So I think it's just us being on the same page. Me trying to anticipate what he wants and go to work for him best of my ability.
How do you view the QB room just kind of overall?
I think it's a great competitive room. A bunch of smart guys, a bunch of competitive guys, a bunch of guys that are hungry and want to win. Those are the type of players we want in that room. It'll be fun to see those guys compete every day. They compete with each other in the room. They compete with each other on the field. They go play golf with each other. Which I'm gonna get Hayner's handicap here eventually, but I haven't gotten there yet.
I hear he's good.
He's pretty good.
Impressive, guys. How do the dynamics change when it's a room where you have 2 young draft picks like so close together? You don't see that a lot. Does that kind of change how anything's approached?
No, I think it's getting the right people in a room, and when you add people to an organization, when Mickey and those guys, when they bring people in, they know the type of people they're going to bring in that room. So it makes it easy on a coach. You go in and you could say, hey, these are the type of people we want. These are the type of players we want. They go out, find them, and then it's easy to get to go to work.
Okay, now listen, fam. The words is coming out of Andrew Janoko's mouth, and when you listen to Clint Kubiak, and we've played in Clint Kubiak interviews, you guys hear him talk. They almost the same person, all in terms of their accountants. Their temperance. Their attitude. They have a quiet, cool demeanor. And even though you see how they talk and they're very meticulous, and Clint Kubiak is like I said, they had people that were talking about, I was listening to interviews from coaches that work with Clint Kubiak in other stops, and they talked about a quiet confidence and a cool demeanor. Janoko has it. He says he's been working with him for a long time. They have the same character, you know what I'm saying? And the mere fact that these guys come in and they study the film, they come in and they watch these players and they say, hey, we want you to do it like this. And like I was saying, fam, we know this is just the beginning, but fam, listen, it all starts with, what are you going to do? Are you going to fix the problems that we talked about last year? Because people, I'm telling you, these people get up here on these talk shows and they say all this stuff about Derek Carr, this and all these other stuff. And some of it is true. But when we talk about the systemic problems that was wrong with the Saints and what's stopping the Saints from winning games is what we've been talking about. Is what we've been talking about for some time here on this show. And it was incredibly frustrating. Y'all see me visibly frustrated. In losses, when I do the play-by-play on Sundays or Thursdays or whenever they play, I'm it's a 5, 6, 7 hour stream. It's a pregame, during the game, halftime, and after the game, all this kind of stuff. It was incredibly frustrating. And we sat up here for some time and said the same stuff over and over again about what's wrong. What are these guys doing? What are these coaches doing? Are they studying the film? Are they looking at the film? Are they doing this? How are you saying you working with Derek Carr and he's still staring guys down? You're not supposed to be doing that if you're doing your work correctly. If you're an offensive coach and you study and film, there is no way you can overlook Derek Carr was staring people down and wide receivers were getting frustrated. How did you let that go the entire season? If they would have checked that, there would not have been this frustration from Chris Olave or Michael Thomas or these guys. It was the fact that people like the Lattimore situation was all bit out of frustration. Lattimore wasn't a team cancer. He was upset by the direction of the team, and he wasn't the only one. Kamara was upset. There were plenty of people that were upset, enough to cause problems in the locker room insofar as people losing faith in the coaches. It's just Laddie Daddy was the biggest of the names, and that's a big name for the Saints. But when you don't have accountability for people when there are, like, say, for instance, in Pete Carmichael's undisciplined system, and this Elvin Kamara said this, he said guys would just false start and he would look. And he said the coaches wouldn't say nothing and they'll just reset. And he'd be like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. Because he knows better. When guys are false starting, you're supposed to get on them guys, fuss at them. What are you doing? No. None of that was going on. How are you running an offense like that? Well, you're not checking these guys. Guys are false starting. They don't have to pay for it. They don't have to lose playing time. What's going on here? So you can screw up and have all these things and not be affected at all. Have no punishment for misdeeds that you're doing to hurt the team. That's what I was talking about. So when they talk about the Saints was one game away, you would have never got that game. You would never got that game because you are not, these type of issues prevent you from being consistent. You need accountability. You need these attention to details. You need these things to build a consistent and strong winning team. It's a part of the philosophy and the dynamics of the team. It's a part of the mentality of the team. You've got to have that. You can't have a functional, successful situation without accountability, without people paying for what they did if they did something wrong or being rewarded when they do things right. You've got to have that. And we suffered from that, offensively speaking. And that killed a lot of the hopes of the team. That's why I say games the Saints should have won, like the Green Bay game. How do you have an epic collapse like that if you're undisciplined and unfocused? That never happened. That should never have happened. You had 11 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. But this is what I'm saying. This type of stuff that we hear from these guys coming in is very positive. It really is, fam. Because it speaks toward the issues that we talked about ad nauseum. And people are like, man, Q, damn, it's the wet blanket, this and that and the third. I'm like, fam, no, don't look at me and say I'm this because I'm telling you what they're doing. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. And then the message, they're saying it now. So see, the message is out there. We were saying it the whole time. Now they writing it like it's new. Man, we've been on this shit. We've been ahead of the curve. We've been saying this stuff and they finally got it. Fam, go back in your recollection. They finally are talking like we talked 2 years ago. People shooting at the messenger. Oh, Q, this, that. And I'm like, fam, I'm trying to help the fucking team. I'm trying to make them aware. Hey, man, we got a problem. And it ain't talent. It's mentality. It's accountability. I kept saying it. But I'm the wet blanket guy, or whatever you want to call me. Oh, Q, he just said, I keep it fucking real. Excuse my French, man. I'm sorry. But God dog it, man. I've been waiting for this for years, for this finally to happen. And listen to these people saying it. And you really want to hear something? Let me put Dennis Allen on. Listen what Dennis Allen is saying. And Dennis Allen wasn't talking like this. It's an energy that's sweeping over the team. And it's stuff that I've been telling these people for years, and they finally saying what I said. And to the point where they saying almost the same things I said verbatim. The same thing, the pinning thing. I kept saying the pinning thing. I said it for years. I said the pinning thing for years. What are we doing? I said it for years. I talked about and said, don't do that for years before when they formed the idea. I said, don't do that. It won't work out. I said it for years. I knew because I pay attention. I know the sport. I know the game. Bam. Listen to Dennis Allen, what Dennis Allen saying. Listen to your coach and how he talking now.
But I thought there were some good things I saw. I thought good competition between the offense and defense. And so for first day of OTA practice, I was pleased, you know, but obviously we'll get in and watch the tape, and you know, I'm sure there's a ton of corrections that we got to make.
Dennis, are any of the absences problematic? Are you okay with the guys who aren't here?
Well, look, I mean, I'd always love for 100% participation. I'm aware of why everybody that's not here is not here. Some of them personal reasons, some of them personal choice, whatever the case may be. I think really our focus really has got to be on the guys that are here, and let's work to get the guys that are here. Let's work to get those guys better. When guys aren't here, when they get here, we're going to welcome them with open arms, and we're going to go about getting ourselves ready for the 2024 season. And I think that's really all we can do.
That is the decision to go Trevor Penning, running with the ones at right tackle, wouldn't win that decision.
Yeah, look, I think you're going to see a few things throughout the course of training camp where we're going to, maybe try some different things. I think that's kind of the direction that we're looking at right now, and really working Taliesin over on the left side, and giving Trevor an opportunity to work on the right side. We're still waiting to see, where Ryan Ramczyk is when we get, probably to training camp. It'll be the first time that we would even potentially see him. So I think that's kind of the thought process.
It's almost a clean slate with Trevor. You got a new line coach.
Yeah,
you got a new offense coordinator.
I think one of the reasons why you look at potentially putting him over on the right side is exactly that. It's a totally clean slate. It's a different position. It's a different coaching staff. It's a different scheme, and it's really hey, we're starting over here. We're starting new. And so I'm excited about it. I think, I think it could be something good for him. And look, we haven't set anything in stone. We're going to evaluate how everything goes. And ultimately our job is to get the best five out there come opening day.
Let me stop it right there. Dennis Allen, the Penning thing, man. The Penning thing was very clear to me. I've talked about that ad nauseum about Trevor Penning, that he would be a good watch how Trevor, and then just like I was right about that family, about Penning not playing the left side, that he would do well at the right side. Watch how he looks at the right side. Watch when he gets an opportunity to grow into the position. Watch how he looks. Watch what he becomes now. Watch what he becomes now, because you can see it in some of these guys. Not all of them, but some of them you can see it in them. Watch what he becomes. And then this thing about the offensive reset. I've said that some time ago. I said, don't you dare take Trevor Penning. And people's like, yeah, we're going to put him at the left side. And the unofficial depth charts came out. I kept saying, don't you do that to him. He had a traumatic year in which you buried him on the depth chart and he was still active. You had guys coming off the practice squad like Cam Irvin starting over him, and he was still active on the team. He didn't even get cleanup duty most days, where you come in there as the sixth offensive lineman in the block. I said, don't you dare do that. He had a traumatic situation. He needs a complete mental and otherwise reset. That man almost used the same terminology I use, and I said that weeks ago. I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, man, a lot of things they were saying in these interviews that we were saying for a long time, and they are finally getting it. They finally are getting it. So shout out to the Who Dat Nation, man. They are finally getting it. It took a long time, but they finally are getting it.
And we'll go through that full process to figure that out.
So you think it's more permanent with Fuaga on the left side? Look,
last
week you said it was just trying
it out. Well, I think we like some of the things that we saw. I think we want to evaluate a little bit more. I wouldn't say anything's permanent, you know, but I think we like that direction, and then we'll see how it goes.
Remember, that's Clint Kubiak. I know Dennis Allen is answering those offensive related questions, but remember, Dennis Allen's managerial style is similar to Mickey Loomis's managerial style, which is hands off. I give you the job. If you win, you win. I look good. If you lose, I'll spin a narrative for you to protect you, which is not how it's supposed to go. I don't think you need to be hands off with a guy that didn't really prove that he can do anything. I think you need to still be with him and kind of peek over his shoulder, you know, question him from time to time, have more of a hands-on approach just to let him know that you are there and that you might have to think a little extra hard on some of these decisions because he's around here somewhere, as opposed to going there and cut and close the door. And then when he screws up or does something dumb, you just come out and spin narratives to protect him. Nobody likes that because it's void of accountability. You have to discipline guys when they come out and do something stupid. You got to do it, especially out in the open. You gotta set the record straight. And that's what flamed up a lot of the diehards like myself when I seen that happening, because I knew that would turn into something negative, and it did. So I just, you know, I really do. I am very optimistic that based on what I'm hearing from these people, because remember, a lot of this stuff, Dennis Allen wasn't, some of these things he said in his interview, he didn't say this stuff. And I've listened to damn near all this man stuff since he been here as a head coach. And it's just he mentions accountability and attention to detail. And I know that that's two things that he's very rocky on, but he did get guys that are good with that skill in Clint Kubiak, Andrew Janoku, and John Benton and others. Talking about the wide receiver coach Williams, the running backs coach. These guys are solid football coaches, really good, solid, smart football coaches. When they picked these guys up, I played all the interviews when they signed them before they were Saints, just to give people an idea of the IQ of some of these guys they're bringing in here. They didn't mess up on these guys. These offensive guys are for real. And some of them are, no disrespect to our past guys, are upgrades over some of the guys we had before. So like I said, fam, I like the floor in which they are talking from offensively. And Dennis Allen is joining along as well. Believe it or not.
I think Taysom Hill can flourish in any role he embraces. You know, I think there's a lot of things that he can do. And so, look, I think there's going to be a learning process that goes along with this. But there's a lot of different things that he can do. And I wouldn't say a lot of it is totally different than some of the things that he's done in the past for us. So, yeah, I think with a new staff in here and a new scheme, we're going to look at, like we were talking about with the offensive line, we're going to look at, okay, what can Taysom do? And where can we utilize him in this scheme where he can help us win football games?
That's also the thing we talked about, too, when they brought him here. What was Taysom Hill's role? Taysom Hill, the quarterback, is pretty much going to be gone in Clint Kubiak's offense. He will have a more efficient and better usage for his talents than being a quarterback who runs the ball all the time. Very predictable. That ultimately was a failed experiment, because the only way it was supposed to work is he was actually supposed to be half quarterback, half running back, at times to fool the defense. It didn't work. At times when he was a quarterback, he had an opportunity to throw the ball. He would just pull it down and go and run. So that Clint Kubiak system with him running as a quarter, I don't think we're going to see a lot of that. Maybe here or there, but in Clint Kubiak's system, you're looking at Taysom Hill as Kyle Juszczyk. We also talked about that here as well, before all that was getting going, because I went and analyzed what the style of offense that Clint Kubiak likes to run. I looked at the Minnesota film. I looked at some of the stuff the 49ers were doing, and he has to have a versatile fullback. When he was with Minnesota, I think it was CJ Ham, and when with them 49ers, Kyle Juszczyk. Now, Kyle Juszczyk is a big part of what the 49ers do. And I went and compared the guys, because one, you know, you said, well, Q, you know, Taysom's, your quarterback, such a fam. I went and looked up. They're the same age, first and foremost. The comparison was really interesting, because they're the same size. I thought Kyle Juszczyk was a little heavier than Taysom. No, they're the same height, the same size, like 230 something, 233, 235 something. Taysom is 230. 233, 235, somewhere up in there. And Dennis Allen's absolutely right. The Saints have used Taysom Hill as a fullback before because they've used him several times during the years as a fullback when he was blocking for Elvin Kamara. So he definitely can play the Kyle Juszczyk role, might be better than Kyle Juszczyk in doing it. And it definitely would bode well because Taysom could be used all. Could you imagine what these people could do with Taysom Hill in there, how versatile he is? He might be better, and I know that's a lot to say, but because Kyle Juszczyk to me is the best fullback in the NFL, that could be, could you imagine if there was anybody that can do what he did, that he does for the 49ers with the Saints, it would be Taysom Hill without a doubt. Most of his yardage comes by way of him being a running back. Could you imagine what that looks like in Kyle Juszczyk's system when they can move him all over the place? He can line up at wide receiver and dust the hell out of the cornerbacks. I mean, man, it's just amazing. It's just amazing what could be because, like I said, fam, the pieces are here already. The talent's here is how we use the talent. We mismanaged these guys last year. They did. I'm going to say they did because I ain't do a damn thing. I wouldn't mismanage Elvin Kamara. They underutilized Elvin last year. They mismanaged the Jamal Williams, 17 touchdowns or whatever it was 2 years ago, 1 touchdown last year. Mismanaged, misused. You know, they misused a lot of that talent. And this won't happen this year, man. For real. Here we go.
I wouldn't think we'd see a lot of him taking reps at quarterback during this time frame. You know, we've got 2 young guys that we need every single rep that they can get,
right?
Along with a starting quarterback who's, you know, in a new system. So I wouldn't think that we'd see a lot of that. And we'll just evaluate how the quarterback position is, you know, throughout this, you know, time frame, and then as we get into training camp.
Following up on that, because of where Clint came from, I'm sure there'll be comparisons to Juszczyk. Was that kind of something you all talked about, of utilizing?
I think there's some things that Kyle Juszczyk does that we feel like, you know, Taysom can do and do well.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say that we would say that role's entirely the same. I'd say there's probably a few things outside of that realm that we feel like Taysom can do to help us.
Fam, the truth is, listen, and this is not a bold take to say Taysom Hill could do everything Kyle Juszczyk do and probably could do it better. No disrespect to Kyle Juszczyk, but Taysom Hill was playing backup quarterback for the Saints. He was a running back. He was a tight end, offline tight end. He was a wide receiver. Taysom Hill plays every skill position. I don't think Kyle Juszczyk can do that. I don't think Kyle Juszczyk can line up on the boundary like a wide receiver. But yet he has the same height and size as Kyle Juszczyk. If there's anybody that can pick up the system and as intelligent as Taysom Hill is, who learned to play out of various different rooms and be effective, that's Taysom Hill, man. He can probably be a better Kyle Juszczyk than in this system. I'm saying that he could probably end up excelling at that role. And remember, he makes a chunk of change too, and it can justify his money, as opposed to him being a backup quarterback who don't throw the ball. I mean, that you might be able to get him to justify that money in that role. That would be special. And he shows out this year, man. That definitely means a re-up with Taysom. And of course, you have Kyle Horvath there as a guy that can also act as a fullback if you need him. So I think Prentice is probably going to go. We're going to listen to one more, then we'll bounce to Derek Carr.
How would you say you've seen from Clint Kubiak so far? Like, how has he impressed you?
Look, I think the attention to detail and holding guys accountable to those details.
Say one more time, Dennis. One more. Did he just say that? What did he say?
So far, like, how has he impressed you?
2 things we talked about.
I think the attention to detail and holding guys accountable to those details. I mean, I think that's something that you know, he's really brought to the table for our group. And I think it's been good, and I think our players and I think our coaches are embracing that.
Well, la-dee-da. How about that? How about that? Attention to detail and accountability. The two greatest buzzwords on the sports coma over the last couple of years that we've talked about was severely lacking in the Saints, especially on the offensive side. Dennis Allen says the two buzzwords that we often talked about. Man, listen, man. This is pretty cool, man. Like I said, and he really does represent that, and that's why I was talking about the floor. You need that to win. We didn't have that. Now we do. Things will change. Things will change when you have accountability and attention to detail. It's not just him, and it's not just Clint Kubiak. Let's not just put it on him. It's all the guys he brought in here. They have the same mentality. All of them have the same ones. All those guys, the new running back coach, go listen to him, his interviews. It's out there. Attention to detail, holding and accountability. They talk about that. Andrew Janockel talks about it. He mentioned it in the interview. You talk about Benton, offensive line coach John Benton's another dude that's big on that. The wide receiver coach Williams, he talks about that too in prior interviews. These all of these guys that Clint Kubiak picked all have the same mentality. Attention to detail and accountability. Two things the Saints lacked. And if they had that last year, not only would we have made the playoffs, we would have won the NFC South and we would have won a playoff game. That was big. We needed that because that holds the team together and makes it strong. Dennis Allen said two things, family, that we often do not hear from him. Hear me. He said two things that we don't often hear from him. And he said them right next to each other. Accountability and attention to detail. The man just said that about the offense. And that spreads. That catches on. When the offense is flowing like that, the defense gets on code. Everybody gets on code. You would hope the team is galvanized by the example set by those coaches. You would hope. Hopefully the coach gets in line too. That is not his verbiage. He don't use that. He don't talk like that. He doesn't. Man, listen, that's why I said, fam, listen, it's stuff going on here. All right, so anyway, shout out to the fam. Thank you, Bronze, for being a member for 21 months. I mean, Pammy and Bronze, shout out to y'all for being members. Pammy for 21 months and Bronze for 5 months. Shout out to my YouTube and Patreon family members for your financial support, man. Much love. All right, shout out to the fam. I see you, brother Trine, Quavadius, Scoob, my boy Scoob's out there. Julius, shout out to you as well. Ultimate Streams TV, good to see you out there. Much love. Brother Greg, I see you, fam. Appreciate you as well. All right, big ups to you, Pammy. I don't know if you heard me. I gave you a shout out. Brother Tim, I see you, fam. Much love. I just wanted to give y'all a shout out. Brother Dante says, Q, I know Dennis Allen and David Carr is going to let y'all say, well, bro, I don't think so, bro. You might have been, if you'd have chimed in the stream, Brother Dante, about a week or so ago, I might have gave you a chance on that, brother. But now with the room changing like this, I think y'all in trouble, man, because that's what I wanted to hear. Now, they're not playing any games, but you got to set the foundation. You got to set the foundation. And if the foundation is set in accountability and attention to detail and guys that are serious and guys are checking the issues that they simply didn't check last year, I think you guys are in trouble. Because I've often said it, the Saints have all the talent in the world. I think the Saints are really a top 10 team in the NFL. When their minds right, I think the Saints could be a top 5 team. The defense that they're going to field, if they're healthy, they're going to be a top 5, top 10 defense. The offense, when they field, is going to be a top 5, top 10 offense. If they all get on code and do what the coach says and line up like they're supposed to and stay on code, this is going to be an interesting team. These are the things that I was often talking about for days on end about what I needed to see from the Saints schematically and from a mental standpoint. These are the things that set the foundation. You guys might be in trouble, fam. I think you might be in trouble. Here's Derek Carr. We're going to move on from here. Here's what Carr had to say about stuff. Here we go.
At this point, I've had the opportunity to learn a lot of football, and I think it's a blessing because you get to learn and your knowledge and growth in so many areas. But this one for me with Clint and Chinook has just felt good. It's just felt right. And for me personally, it's something that you watch from afar and you're like, man, that'd be so fun to be a part of, you know. And so I think just skill set wise and the guys we have and myself included, just how we fit into what we're going to be asked to do. I'm just excited about that. You know, I'm sitting there watching the film, getting excited. You know, because it's gonna, like I said before, it's gonna look different. You know, for our fans that have seen a certain way for a long time, but I think it's good. It's exciting.
One thing we're assuming that means back with San Francisco. How do you think what the Saints, what you guys have on offense, can translate from what San Fran had on offense?
Yeah, so it's a mixture. You know, it's a mixture of some different things with the voices and the people in the room and their experiences, right? And when it's your show, it's always a little bit different than where you came from. And so, for me, I think just for the players in our room, it translates really well. There's certain concepts that we started, doing late last season and that carry over into what we're doing now. And I thought we were really good at them with the kind of guys that we have. So, again, doesn't guarantee anything, but it's exciting to see and to know that we have some experience at doing that well.
And one thing we've heard about is shorter play calls, less verbiage in the system. How does that affect you as a quarterback? Is that helpful to just kind of get things communicated?
It helps us play faster. It helps us mentally. Everyone's going to play faster. This, as I've learned in my 11 years, like the quarterback or the coach or certain position group can know so much, but it's like, what can we all handle? Because it's the ultimate team game, right? What is best for all of us? And taking that sophistication and going like this with it and marrying, it's like they've done a beautiful job of doing that. And that's, again, when you get around them, you're like, I see why. As you keep learning in this game, you see why they've had success and why guys can come in and have great years and at different positions, and they can plug guys in and they play well. And a lot of that starts making sense, I guess, when you see that part of it.
You talked a couple times now. I mean, we just there, but like having seen this offense and the success it's had, like, is there a level of just like of excitement with the guys just about what this can be now that you're kind of in it and this is yours now?
Yeah, I think there is excitement, absolutely. The cool part about this time is we're all learning together, and there's something about going through it together. Like last year, I'm the guy learning everything new, I'm trying to play catch up while everyone's helping me. But the cool part about this is we're all starting over, and then I feel more of that leadership, that coaching role now, and so that excitement of, no, it's like this and that, but when you do something like that together, that brotherhood and that unity, it gets even tighter. And I think that's the exciting part for us, is that we're going through it together. We're making the mistakes, we're learning, we're doing things together. So I think with that said, that brings more excitement too. Again, you watch the film and you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. But the excitement is the process of doing it to hope that we can make the cut up look like that too.
All right, so listen, fam, just kind of get through Derek's word salad, because he gets a little bit wordy and he starts using his hand a lot. I don't know if Carr is part Italian or something like myself, because he uses his hands to accentuate his points. That's like an Italian trait, man. He start using their hands and they get really, we get animated, with our words and whatnot. But yeah, besides the word salad, man, he's saying some stuff here. I just want y'all to stop the interview, because sometimes you could be lulled into it, because he does throw some word salad in there, man. But he's saying some good stuff here.
And this might be like a overly simplistic question, but like now that you've been in it a little bit, like why do you think this offense has had so much success?
Everything looks the same, to the defense, and coaches do a great job of making sure, hey, run, play action, pass, screen, everything looks the same, and it's a lot of moving parts. And so, and that's, just really, whoever started it and whoever's been coaching it, tip of the hat to them, because they do a fantastic job of making things look alike. And they could give you the playbook, but you don't know which one they're calling, And so I think that makes it really hard on the defense. And schematically for coordinators, so I just think that part to me has been really impressive, how everything looks the same. When the run game guy and the pass game guy are on the same page and everyone's speaking the same, one voice, and it's one philosophy, and it's that right there breeds confidence in us as players that they're going to, put us in positions to have success.
All right. So I mean, it would, and see, that's like I said, that's one of the smartest things I've said. Heard Carr say since he's been here. Now remember, um, last year it was a lot of stuff that he was saying to try to ingratiate himself, and I don't think I don't think he was lying about some of the stuff he was saying in the off season last year before the season started. That what he was trying to do and this, that, and the third. I think what he was saying, like, what's really impressive about the offense that he knows so far, what he's looking at is that it's all uniform. And I spoke about this earlier in the stream about him making this comment, which is probably one of this is the really impressive comment of this interview from Derek Carr, was he talked about the uniformity of the look of what this potential offense that Clint Kubiak is running, because it makes it incredibly difficult for the opposing defenses to look at what the Saints are doing and say, oh, they're about to do this, because everything looks the same. And that is incredible, because if they can pull this off, and we've seen them have a lot of success doing it in Minnesota, Clint Kubiak, and some with what he was doing underneath Kyle Shanahan in San Fran. If they can pull this off where they can keep it uniform and defenses can't tell what they're doing, that will be very interesting. That will be a very interesting style of offensive football for our black and gold. That will be very interesting if they don't tip their hat while forcing the defenses to tip their hat when they start motioning left and right to figure out what these guys are going to do, if they're there or here. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, it is going to be interesting to see if they can get it to stick. And that's something that is up to Carr. Now, what changes a bit, like I said before, what I'm enthused about with Andrew Janocko and Clint Kubiak, they're not leaving it up to Derek Carr on what he's going to do insofar as his footwork and progressions. No, they're telling him, we need you to do this. We need you to do this. So it's not like, it's a style difference, fam. You see what I'm saying? It's not like they're trying to create a tailored suit for Derek Carr to put on. You see what I'm saying? They're not doing that. They're telling him, hey, you're going to have to get in this goddamn, this big and tall men's suit right here. This is good enough. You're going to have to put this on. What the sleeves are a little long. That's all right. It's all right. We going to church you're going to go get saved. It ain't a tailored suit for Carr is what I'm saying. Did you get that? They're telling him what they want him to do in terms of his footwork and what he needs to do with progressions, which tied to timing. They're telling him, we need you to be here. We need you to do this. And they're not leaving it up to him like Pete Carmichael did. To let those, fam, that's the difference. It's the details, the small things in between the thing. The space between the tick and the tock. You see what I'm saying? There's a space there. Tick, space, tock. You see, the attention to detail mean they account for everything. Everything. Attention to detail means they account. The offensive brains account for everything, including his footwork. We need you to do this, like this. We need you to be at this place at this time in this offense on this play. And he speaks about it as I play some more of the interview. Derek Carr talks about he compares Clint Kubiak and Janocko to John Gruden. He makes a statement. Now he says that he reminds him of John Gruden. Now, I know, and I've seen footage with John Gruden when he was in training or when he was practicing with Derek Carr when it was with the Raiders, and Gruden was cussing his ass off at Carr because Carr must have did something, threw the ball wrong. He was cussing at him. And that's what John Gruden, he's a fiery coach, just like Coach Payton is. Coach Payton will cuss you out. That's what Cam Jordan used to talk about. They used to walk around the Saints facility on eggshells when Coach Payton was there, because Coach Payton's an alpha dog. John Gruden's an alpha dog, and you got alpha dogs back in your offense. Thank you kindly. Attention to detail means everything is accounted for. Every penny is accounted for. Every step is accounted for. Every rep is accounted for. Everything. Attention, that's what attention to detail means. The details, the smallest details, everything in between the things. That's what these guys are doing. And that's why I said we leave nothing to Derek Carr. Tell him exactly what you want him to do and how to do it. And don't leave it up to him. You get what I'm saying? That's really what's encouraging about what they're teaching him. He actually talks about it.
Sorry.
You talked about it. Everybody's learning it at the same time now. Chemistry was a big thing last year. How much does this learning experience, this collective, really build the chemistry a lot faster than it may have last year?
Yeah, we are. I told my wife this. I was like, she asked me, how's everything going a couple weeks ago, and I said, we're so far ahead of where we were last year, just as a team, just as a group of guys. I mean, we're,
Let's shot at Pete Carmichael.
Again, we're going through this process together. So, I mean, we're having guys over at our house. We're not trying to find a house. Guys are coming over to the house. We're having dinner. We're hanging out. We're going to their house. Wives are getting together. I mean, there's just so much more of that going on that we're so far ahead, because while we're doing that, we're talking about, hey, what's this? What's the step on this? What's my foot on this? What are you thinking? I'm at this landmark. We're all trying to learn it and grow and do it together. And so, I always believe if you want to go far, you got to do it together. And so, I think that's the fun part about this year. That we are learning something new. And yes, it's very mentally taxing to do that. But when you're all doing it together, it's cool how you can come together and do stuff like that.
What are your initial thoughts?
Takes the pressure off you too. They all learned it at the same time. It's not like last year with Derek Carr where everybody knew it and he didn't. He had to lean on everybody else while trying to be the leader of the team that needs to lead on other guys because he don't know what they're doing. Think about living like that. I'm the leader of the team. I make $150 million, but can you help me? Remind me what play we're supposed to be running? What? It's a different, it hits different. That's a good point. It hits differently when everybody don't know it and everybody got to learn it at the same time. It hits differently.
It's on the quarterback room you're in this year.
Yeah.
With Hayner and Rattler and obviously Peterman as well.
They are, the two young guys have been unbelievable, asking questions, learning and growing, and I'm just trying to do my best to help them as much as I can while I'm getting ready myself, and I told him, I was like, I'm an open book, whatever I can do, because he's the ultimate pro. He's going to do everything in his power to do things right. Great teammate, great, just in a game week is, really been second to none. The amount of work he puts in to help me, he was always awesome at that. And then Spencer and Jake, just watching those two young guys, they're just starting. I was sitting next to Spencer. He's like, what year is this? I was like, it's 11. He goes, I was like, what were you doing 11 years ago? He said, I was 12, So I was like, bro, anything I can ever do to help you. And he knows this. I've told him on the phone. I called him after he was drafted. I said, anything.
Call him on that phone. Send them butterflies.
I can ever do to see you just have the life and career you ever could dream of, I'm here for you. And he's been asking questions. That's the one thing I love. He's hungry, to learn. He's hungry to, to understand, hey, I saw that. What was that? All that kind of stuff. So,
boy, Derek with that word salad, brother. Come on.
It's been a lot of fun watching just in this, I know it's one practice, but we've been together, for a while now. So it's been fun to grow and, help teach those guys then go out here and do a rep, show them and be like, see, that's what I'm talking about with the eyes, or, that kind of stuff. So it's been a lot of fun.
Derek, what was it like for you, rookie year to year two, what you think Jake might be going through? Is it a little bit easier?
Yeah, the game slows down so much. Yes, the game definitely slows down. You know where to stand in the stretch line. You know what to do for the meal time. It's like stuff you don't even think about because you've been at the same college forever. But when you get out here, especially when you're around guys again that've been here 10 years, 14 years, like Cam. It can be intimidating your first year because you don't want to do anything wrong. And but I think his mental capacity. He obviously has the physical talent to be a great quarterback. And anyone going from year one to year two, I expect to see jumps in those guys, and they'll do a fantastic job. But Jake has done an absolutely wonderful job, and now he's learning a new system, and he's obviously asking me questions. How do you do this? His whole rookie year was one thing, now it's something different. And so just giving him tips and stuff on that, but he's ahead because he's been in it a little bit.
How much has the speed really shown within the offense, the ability to get it out of the huddle and to execute plays? How much of that really shown in day one?
Yeah, day one is definitely emphasized. We can still be better at it. We're getting in our football shape now. We're in condition to come out here and run all day, but football shape is different. We got to get in our football shape and be better at that, so we can put stress on the defense with, again, showing them the same look but quicker, and then doing something different, doing all that kind of stuff. So you could feel it. You could feel the energy from the coaches, and they even said they're going to be even harder about that right there tomorrow. And it's just going to continually push us in the right direction.
Speaking of coaches, what were your first thoughts about Kubiak, and what really verified to you how much he was the right?
All right, now listen to this, fam. This is what we got through all of the jungle word salad, the forest word salad. Now we in the clearing. Listen to this.
Yeah, I got to, I don't remember when it was, but when I just talking to him, and just for the first however many minutes we talked, it was just about who he was as a person, who I was as a person, our families, what he's about, and all this kind of stuff. And you begin to realize just, the great family that he came from. We talked about, we asked fun questions in Corbin. If you could play golf with anybody in the world, and everyone's saying Tiger, whoever, everyone's saying whatever, and then he gets up and says, my dad and my brothers. Like, you can tell a man loves his family and was raised a good way if that's his answer, and that's just him. And so I've thoroughly enjoyed him as a person, and as a coach, he's been awesome. Every time I do something, whether it's great, whether it's not great, he's on me about every detail, just being excellent, and he's so encouraging at the same time. Coach Gruden was that way, with being able to demand, but also making you feel great at the same time. He had a funny way about how to do that, and I think Clint has that too.
Did you catch that? Did you get that, baby? He owned them for everything that he does. He wants them to do it like this, do it like that, attention to detail. He's on them. He said it reminds him of John Gruden. Accountability. He's on them. He talking about Clint Kubiak. He on them. You heard what Carr said, fam. You had to get through the jungle word salad to get there, but it was worth it. Did you get that, baby? All right, KT says, Q, please tell Mickey to stop running from us and Rouse's. Reverend and I were just buying fruit punch big shots, chicken strips, and potato wedges. Y'all was having lunch. Oh, I don't eat that. I don't eat that shit. I don't shop at Rouse's no more. I ain't shop at the other store. What's the little market in Metairie, man, in Old Metairie, where it's an independent market? I forgot what it's called, man. It's still over there. Forgot what it's called. It's an independent market in Old Metairie, because that's where Mickey stays at. He stays around there in Old Metairie somewhere. But it's an old market there that I forgot the name of it, man. KT, you done ran them into the regular, to the small market now, man. It's one over there, they high as hell up, and I went up in there one day. It was a long time ago, man. But yeah, that market's still over there, man. Now, y'all from Metairie, y'all know which one I'm talking about. It's an old market. It's not an old, it's a family-owned market, but it's been there for a long time. It's over there, man, and that's probably what Mickey goes to shop at. It looks like a place where Mickey will shop at, man. It really does. All right, what's up, Scoop? Says Q. Carr will be forced to utilize the check down in a faster paced offense. Will he force the throws like last year? I don't think so, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. What I see from what he's talking about, Clint, that's why I was playing it, because I wanted you guys to hear what these guys are, because it's a lot of talking of Carr. He does a lot of talking that lulls you to sleep, because he don't get to the point. Like, somebody asks him something, he'll go on a side street and then he'll curve back to the main street. Then you'll hear all of the word. I call it word salad. It's just him expressing himself, and he using his hands and his arms. But you got to go around and through the forest before you finally get to the clearing. And the clearing I was getting you guys to was the information that he was talking about insofar as Clint Kubiak's accountability with him. And the plan is to not only just talk about running the ball, but a big key to the Saints offense was getting Carr on code. That's when we talk about code. What's the code, Q? What you talking about? In terms of the Saints, we talking about the accountability code. We talking about the attention to detail code. And that is what Derek Carr talked about just a moment when he says he's on him. He used the verbiage, he's on me for every little thing I do, every throw that I make. It reminds me of Coach Gruden, but he's not a condescender. He doesn't condescend down on Derek Carr. He doesn't do that. He just teaches him the right way and have him to do it. He's on them. And that's what I remember. I was telling you guys that, man. I was like, man, listen, for Carr, for the Saints to get the most out of Derek Carr, you're going to need a coach that's going to push Carr, a guy that's going to be on Carr. You think that Clint Kubiak, as attention detail centered as this guy is and his staff around him, you think that guy is going to allow Derek Carr to go out there and stare down wide receivers, stare and not go through his progressions? That hurts the offense because that's a predictability that we can't afford offensively speaking. He has to go through the progressions. He has to. You got to go through it. These coaches will make him accountable. Like they don't care about $150 million. They got 1 year to get this stuff together. So the check, they're going to hit you with the check. Now, I think that's a part of some of it they do, but I think a lot of it too is Clint Kubiak. They're going to run the football too. That's a big part of the stratagem, is to run the football. So like I said, that's what I was saying. And it's the stream is called, Are the Saints on the Right Path this season? I would have to say, family, after listening to all that and the presentation that I gave to you guys today, what do you think? You answer the question, family. What do y'all guys think after hearing that? What's up, Bullet Family Travel Vlog? How you doing, fam? Yeah, he said that's media changes. He's saying a bunch of nothing. No, but that last part was actually worth the word salad. Hearing him say that, because that's what we needed to hear. See, it's a certain listen, the Great Saint Think Tank. We are not like most. And that's why I invite all of the intelligent Saints family members to join the Great Saint Think Tank. To join it, subscribe, join the Great Saint Think Tank. It's not for everybody because a lot of people they don't share that mind. It's like a family of people that actually look at this stuff and look at really what's wrong. And that's what I've been on. I haven't changed. And I'm showing you guys, playing the interviews, everything that I talked about up here. When I talked about accountability, I talked about attention to detail. I talked about, the positional groups where players should be. The whole thing about Penning, the whole thing about Lattimore, all of the stuff around the Saints, everything that we was hitting on for, I don't know how long, weeks to months to years. You can go back for panel like, man, if you don't believe me, it's documented, the shows, go back and listen to them. Go back 2 weeks ago and listen to it. Go back a year ago and listen to the shows with me saying the same stuff up here. What's up, Yin? Shout out to Yin, brother John B. Shout out to you. Good to see you, brother Patrick. Good to see you, Arvin. Much love. Good to see you, brother, in that thing as well. Who else we got, man? JT. Big ups to my dog, JT, brother Wallace. How you doing, sir? KB, what's popping, baby? How you doing, Queen? Appreciate you. Good to see you, KB. Yeah, brother Wallace says, Q, it's been a long time, brother. The Sports Coma been out here for a long time, my brother. We've been keeping it real, bro. We ain't bending nothing, bro. We ain't changing nothing, man. Like I was saying, bro, a lot of people were saying, and I know they got love for me. It's like, man, Q, this, that, and third. And I'm like, fam, I'm telling you what's going on. I mean, don't shoot the messenger. I'm telling you guys the truth. And now y'all hear it in all these interviews that I played on the show. All this happened in 1 day, by the way. All these interviews happened in 1 day, and they all were saying the same thing we were saying for the last year, 2 years about this team and what's wrong with this team. I kept saying it ain't talent. It ain't this, that, and the third. And they finally listened. So with that being said, fam, we break down the team the way we broke down the team. We laid the game out. We talked about the why the team was failing, why there were fractures in the team, all this type of stuff. We talked about it. Got on Mickey Loomis it just exposed Mickey Loomis and what was going on there. All of that, man, all that had to be brung out. All of that had to be emptied out because who's gonna do it? Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna talk about it? We're gonna sit up here and talk about position groups all day and not the direction of the team was wrong. I mean, you can have talent all day. If the guy is misusing the talent, and they don't respect what he's doing, then you're not going to win no ball games. You get off code, and I said this before, an off code team can't beat a team on code, man. That's how the world ran. The world is dominated and ran by people that operate by a code, family. Your whole society is codified. A person that's off code usually will be a victim to the code. You have to have a strong code that you live by. And what I'm saying that is when you transverse that to like a sports, like in sports, it's the same thing. It's a universal principle that you got to have a system of code that you live off. A lot of my Christian brethren and sisterin use the scriptures. The scriptures is the code they live by. A lot of the Muslim brothers, they use the Quran, and sisters use the Quran, other holy books. The Jewish brethren and sisterin, they use their books, so on and so forth. It is a code that you must be, that you have to be governed by, or you will end up being conquered or destroyed or ran out by people who do have codes. That happens in sports as well. An off code team can't beat any team that's on code, that's operating behind a code or a system that they believe in. Won't work. Won't happen. It will not happen. So that's why I was saying, like with the Saints, they talk about that one game. They would have never got that one game. The Saints had several opportunities to catch that one game last year, and they always fall short when they got right up to the podium. It wasn't coincidence that they would just fall short in those games. The Rams game you should have had. The Packers game you should have had. The Vikings game you should have had. The first Atlanta game you should have had. So how do you get up to the point in time where you're supposed to show yourself and represent, and you don't do it because that's when you need to apply that code, and they didn't do it, they would lose the game. They would have never, you could have gave them 100 chances at it. They wouldn't have never gotten that. They would have always fell short because that's what not having the correct code is. You fall short. You do not reach the goal. But boys and girls, that is not the case now. This is the floor in which the Saints are operating on. And I am so very happy to see the Saints. Yes, me. I'm just merely the messenger. I'm letting you guys know that the way the Saints are operating with the offensive line coach, the QB coach, the running back coach, the wide receiver coach, all these new coaches, and what Dennis Allen is saying, and what Derek, you heard, that's two of your biggest impediments to success. You just heard him. You heard Derek Carr talk about how does the accountability impact Derek Carr? How does it? You heard what he said about Clint Kubiak being on him. Always, staying on him, making sure he does everything right. What does that mean? Janoko talked about that in his interview, talked about his footwork, making sure his footwork is correct, making sure his progressions are correct, and not leaving anything to chance. Telling him this is how we want you to do it, and do it this way. Do not ad-lib, do it this way. And they're doing that. That is a part of that's going to help him excel. You'll get a 4,000 yard passer with that mentality, because that's what John Gruden did. John Gruden stayed on this man, and every year he had 4,000 yards passing. Watch what happened with Andrew Janoku and Clint Kubiak this year. The accountability doesn't fail, fam. Attention to detail and accountability doesn't fail. It doesn't fail unless they don't implement it. I just don't think that Clint Kubiak is going to be a half-ass offensive coordinator. I think he's going to live by that because he got all his guys that believe in the same stuff he do. How does Dennis Allen apply? You heard Dennis Allen put accountability and attention to detail in back-to-back wording. We've never heard him use those two words, and we knew that was his biggest impairments since he's been here. But he used them today, all that in the same day. So my answer to the family members, once again, are the Saints on the right path? Y'all tell me in the chat what you guys think. Put it in there, let me know. Because I will have to say I am 100% sure that the Saints are on the correct path to success. I co-sign everything that they are attempting to do right now. I co-sign it 1,000%. This is what I've been asking for 4 years. Us here at the Great Saint Think Tank, Sports Coma, the family, we've all been saying this for a while, and they're finally doing it. And that's why I'm like, damn, they finally doing it, man. They finally found the answer. They found it. They listened. They doing it now. Now watch this. If they building this as a floor for this offense and this team moving forward, watch what happened now, because that's what was stopping us. So happy they found it, family. So happy they found it, man. Now I can stop being accused of being a wet blanket. I'm like, damn, bro. I've never been called that before. I know it's out of love, man. But listen, bro, sometimes that's what I told the family members, man, the truth's the truth, man. You want the truth or not, man? You want somebody to lie to y'all? I can't do it, man. I'm not gonna do it, man. I'm not no liar. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to people, man. That's not what it's for. I'm not gonna give you and sell you popcorn and bubble gum and all that shit. All I got is the truth. That's all I got to say about the black and gold. All right, so anyway, let's move on, fam. Let me give you a few more items of news, fam, before we go. But I'm so very encouraged from what I see from the Saints in these interviews, man. Very encouraged. All right, so let's go into this. Saints finalized the 2024 preseason schedule. A shout out to our friends at the Canal Street Chronicles. Much love to you guys. Appreciate you. And this is the schedule right here. Let me see if I can pop it up here on Twitter here. I put that up, and there you go right there. This is the 3 games for the Saints. August the 10th, they open up the preseason against the Arizona Cardinals. August the 18th, it's against the 49ers. And the 25th, they go up against the Tennessee Titans. So there you go. The only one home game, and that's the Titan matchup. Both the Cardinals and Niner games are on the road. So that's the preseason matchup for you guys. Preseason schedule, just in case you guys didn't know. There it is, baby. All right. And then, of course, finally, I wanted to kind of go over this with you guys. And this is some of the stuff that is going on here. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear this.
We are learning the New Orleans Saints are not caught up when it comes to paying for the ongoing renovations at the Superdome.
The team owes more than $11 million and hasn't made a payment since December. WDSU Sports Director Fletcher Mackel live in studio with all the details, breaking down what appears to be a black eye for the black and gold, but they just responded with their own statement.
Yeah, less than an hour ago, the $450 million renovation, a construction project set for completion this summer, has hit a snag from a funding standpoint because the New Orleans Saints have not made payments towards the project in the calendar year of 2024. And now we know why. Let me catch you up, though. The Superdome project was announced back in 2019. It started in 2020. It's been taking place in a 4-part series and is set to be completed this August in time for the NFL season. The Dome is, of course, hosting the NFL's biggest event this winter, Super Bowl 59 in February 2025.
Okay, so let's stop right here because, of course, the news networks are not going to kind of break this part of the game, but I often talk about the economics of what goes on with the Saints. Y'all know that's what I do. I like to keep it real on all fronts, not just about football, but often say that if the money isn't correct, you never see football on the field. So if the money has to be right, you got almost $500 million tab that was paid for by you guys, the taxpayers of the area, the citizens of New Orleans, and pretty much the state, because they use some of the state money too, to use this. So it's a lot of state and federal money that's tied into these Superdome renovations, almost $500 million. And the Saints, out of all this taxpayer money, as you can see, $450 million project, the LSED paying $200 million, which is, where that's coming out of. Saints paying $160 million, state of Louisiana paying $90 million. So they kind of break it down there. And the Saints owe $11.4 million, but they had to shame them on news because as soon as they kind of let this loose, the Saints quickly got on it. So that's pocket change right here. I think Gail carries that much. She got about 13 million in her bag, you know what I'm saying? Plus that she got that Saturday night special that she put on that old boy that time when she was driving around. That old boy thought he was going to get her out her whip and noticed that she took his lunch money and she kept her car and went to dinner. She showed that Saturday night special. You know what I'm saying? She had that eagle that flies in the desert. And he thought he was going to run up on Gail, and Gail said, "You better get out of here. Got that thing, young man. You better get out of here. I got you. You better get out of here." And you notice she kept it trucking. She kept her car and went to dinner. You don't play with Gail. But anyway, Saints, and she got that much in her pocketbook, man. Come on, Gail works what, 6, 7, 8, $9 billion. She's the richest person in the state of Louisiana. $11.4 billion is pocket change to Gail, man. Let's go.
As part of the original deal, the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District, the LSED, the government entity which oversees the property, was set to pay roughly $200 million of the renovation.
Now, that's the entity that oversees, and I think they oversee the Superdome, the arena, and the convention center. I think that's what they do. This is an unelected board of people that has power or control over your biggest money-making buildings in the city. Now, the reason why I always throw this on the mind of the people, because ultimately my vast vision is that ultimately down the line, people actually start getting money from these ventures. I mean, you, taxpayers, get money back because we're funding a private enterprise. So if they're taking taxpayer money that could go to other things and they're giving it to a private enterprise, even though they said your team, you can't go up in that Superdome and go walk up there anytime you want, put your damn feet up and just sit up there and watch a movie in there. You can't they'll throw your ass in jail. But you told me this is my Superdome. You can't go down to the Saints practice facility and go in there and have lunch in there, without permission. Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, but my taxpayers' money paid for the facility. No, it's you. They only say your New Orleans Saints and all that kind of stuff. They only say that so that you feel like you get a part, but they get all of the financial benefit of it. You see what I'm getting at here? The whole reality is you should be getting something from this, monetarily speaking, because your money is going to helping them make even more money. It's public funds going to a private enterprise. And you're supposed to be getting something back for that, is what I'm trying to tell y'all. Not nothing as just opposed to you saying this is your team. You have more control over the team. So my vision is to change this dynamic where we have a more of intelligent family base and not just people who are just fanatical for the team and do whatever they say they're going to do. So I can't stand that. I can't go with that. You have to have this type of thinking if you are going to change this type of dynamic, so that we can get something for it, because we are putting something into it outside of just saying it's your squad. That's my vision. And I've been trying to work on that for some time. So, maybe you guys can kind of help me move that thing along so we can all get paid. help a brother out.
Saints about 160 million, in the state about 90 million. According to sources, the Saints had a payment of more than $11 million due at the first of the year, but they have not made any payments this year. In a statement released about an hour ago, the Saints say in part, "We have no issue with making the current payment of $11.5 million, or for that matter, the remaining balance. We have, however, asked for certain documentation over an extended period, and we have not received that documentation."
Gail got that in the place.
Unfortunately, it was disappointing to hear the comments coming out of the LSED meeting today that the team is not acting in good faith, when in fact, we feel the opposite is true. We are hopeful that this matter can be resolved expeditiously, as any delay would be very unfortunate for all parties and for the city. The Saints—
Was that a veiled threat?
did not specify, even when asked, what type of documentation they're seeking from the state of Louisiana.
All right, so there you go. All right, so what you talking about? Gail got that in a place. She got that in a place, baby. All right, Louisiana says Saints need a new stadium. Gail can have it built and make all that money back over 5 years. Yeah, look at Jerry Jones' return on the Cowboy Stadium, and she don't have to just have football venues, man. He does boxing events. He does a lot of stuff in there. He took his own money and funded his own stadium the way he wanted it. And I think that's the model. I think that's being a business person. But then the NFL is created where that's where they talk about viability. It's the thing about, you extend out everything. I mean, it's not just the 11.4 million. The Saints don't pay any rent on those buildings. I've said this before. A lot of these files are sealed. This thing's like, well, Q, how you know how to file? Because it's common sense. Why would they seal the files if they pay rent on? They don't pay rent on those buildings. They don't pay no rent. I already know what time it is. That's like what happened with with Tom Benson before he passed on. His daughter and they were going at him, suing each other because he took their cars away and all their Benzes. Got the Benz dealership and all. They took all their cars away, kicked them out of the will because they were adverse to Gail. The girls didn't like Gail. Gail didn't like the girls. And like I told you I reported this on the show before about why they wasn't. They blamed Gail and reports, and I read all the documents that Gail was, instead of giving Tom Benson medicine, she was allegedly giving him candy and wine. And and that's what they said. That was alleged in documents. We don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they said. That's what they believed. The people that were suing him, his family, his girls. There was Rita LeBlanc and the rest of them. But they took him to court and they wasn't going to give him anything. But then the girls had a strategy where we're going to force you to open up the books. We're going to sue you and we want our money. We're going to open up the books to the state and the city to find out how much money you're making so that we can get a fair cut. The moment they said that, not too long after, they settled with him. They do not want the books open up to see what kind of sweetheart deals the state and the city are giving the Saints. We already know. I told y'all guys the truth. I already told you. They don't pay rent on those buildings. Pelicans and Saints don't pay rent on those buildings. They get massive tax breaks. They pay very little taxes. The whole little deal, they gave them a skyscraper that's called the Benson Tower that sits right by the Superdome, was a building they gave them for pennies on the dollar. Then when Tom Benson renovated the building, the state then rented out suites in the building for double the rent. See that? How do you do that? And where are you getting the money from? Where does the state get the money for the paid the Saints? They get it from you. The state fund those because they had state offices, like state ran offices in that building. And they were using taxpayer money to pay double the rent on those states. Of course, when that came out, they changed it. But see, what I'm saying is, this is what they do, people who don't know business and who operate with that type of mentality that I'm trying to fight. They just run all around you and just take you apart because they figure, well, they want us to do this. Nah, enough is enough. That's why I was saying, man, everybody that is in this state, in the city, should be getting a check from this, for real. So for real, because you can't change the dynamic if you own code. We just operate with so much disconnection, just allowing them to do all this and then get mad when they screw up and they can inside trade and all this. That's your fault. You let them do it. There shouldn't be it should be a crooked bastard nowhere, anywhere, in none of these places. If we was on our square, if we was doing what we were supposed to do, that would never happen. But we allow too much to happen because we don't either care. We become complacent with how things are. We don't want the responsibility. That's what happened. But world changes change the world when they wake up and realize their place in it. This is not going to fly anymore. This is going to be the case. And guess what? It's more of you than it is of them. So whatever you say, go, baby. Recognize your power. Claim your power. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, listen, I'm going to leave on that empowerment note. But listen, all together tonight, are the Saints on the right path of success for the season? Are they on the right path this season? They are damn sure on the right path this season. I'm just going to keep it $115 with you. I love what I've heard from these assistant coaches. Clint Kubiak. I love what I heard from Dennis Allen, finally recognizing that accountability and attention to detail is what we need to win. When we were saying this for years here, the pinning thing, everything, think about everything we talked about and see they're doing it right now. Everything, even the pinning thing, all of that, everything we said, go do it. They're doing it right now. And I'm so happy because I'm tired of us underachieving, fam. We finally done did it. We finally done did it, baby. We done did it. So they're building the foundation, fam. Let's see them ride on that, man. So like I said, let's see. I think the rest of the NFC South is in trouble, man. That's the biggest thing I have. It's like, I don't know if they're going to fix the things that they need to be fixed. Family, they own the correct course of action. We looking good. I think the NFC South is in trouble. They're in trouble because we already had the guns, the talent. Now We got somebody that understands attention to detail and responsibility, accountability. The NFC South is in trouble, fam. They're in trouble. All right. All right. So with that being said, thank you for that, Louisiana man, for your super chat there. Appreciate it, fam. And thank all of the family members, man, for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys are empowered by this, because this was a very positive thing, man. This is a sea change, man, because we've been preaching this for a while, and I'm glad to see it all happen. The talk of it happened all in pretty much one day. It happened in pretty much one day, but it's good. And I am thoroughly satisfied with the direction of where this team is based on the floor that they're currently building. You heard what Derek Carr said. He was a big impediment to success last year. Dennis Allen was the hugest impediment. But you see him talking accountability and attention to detail. Clint Kubiak is handling his business. You heard what Derek Carr saying about Clint Kubiak being on his back, watching everything that he does, telling them you need to do this. There you go. That's what you need. That's what you need. So anyway, with that, man, I'm gonna get on up out of here. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna be back. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'm gonna be back. I'll be forgetting the days. I'm gonna be back tomorrow on Thursday, man. Much love to y'all, man. Hey, family. And first and foremost, there's a movie, man, that came out tonight. I wanted to see it, but I didn't see it. A friend of mine sent me the movie. It's a hip hop movie. It did a documentary about the history of hip hop. It played down here. I wasn't able to see it, but I don't know if anybody probably went down there and seen it, but it was a movie that's supposed to be playing. It's about the birth of hip hop. I want to see that, man, but I want to see, maybe a hip hop movie about the birth of hip hop from a New Orleans perspective. That would be interesting. I think I'd love to see that. But it's always interesting film to me. But anyway, y'all let me know in the comment section if y'all seen that, if y'all heard about that. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going on it. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one. Much love to who that.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, the WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the platform